Hi guys, uh, so this is May long challenge. So the contest has ended, and I will be discussing today about the first two questions. That is the coronavirus spread and the isolation centers. Both are having quite a huge number of submissions, and these two problems are fairly easy. So I will be covering them in a single video. So let's begin. So um, this is fairly a real-time problem based on the present scenario. It says that there are n persons standing on a line, and the position and the virus will spread from an infected person to a non-infected person when the distance between them is at most 2. Okay. Now you will have to find the size set, that is the final number of infected person in the entire array, and the print the smallest and the largest value. That is, you have to find the optimum scenario where there can be the minimum number of people affected and the largest value where the maximum number of people can be affected. That is basically the best case and the worst case scenario. Okay, now if we go to the test cases, this is the number of test cases. There are 3 and 6. So now 3 and 6, if we calculate the distance between these, it is 3. So 3 is not actually, it's more than 2. So at most one person can be affected, which is either 3 or 6, which is the minimum as well as the maximum. So that is 1 1. Now 1 3 5 7, if you see each people having distance 2, correct? So now in any way all the peoples will be affected, because if 1 gets affected then 3 5 will also get affected, and if 3 gets affected then both 1 5, so minimum and maximum will be again the same, that is 3 3. And now 1 2 5 6 7, in this case the minimum scenario is when you take, suppose 1 is affected, then obviously 2 will be affected, but you can see that 5 won't get affected because the distance between 2 and 5 is 3. So 1 2 affected, so if you calculate 1 and 2, so 2, this is the minimum set, and maximum set is, if suppose if we assume 5 is affected, 6 7 all will get affected because they are consecutive integers. So now let's go through the code I submitted in the during the contest, and it was a very simple code, nothing fancy in that problem. So basically I took that input. Okay, now in this line I calculated the mean, and in this line I calculated the max separately, and then I printed the mean and max. So what did I do? Basically I calculated for the adjacent arrays that whether its distance is less than equal to 2 or not. If it is, then I updated the minimum counter. Okay, now the thing is, when you are actually, you don't need the flag. I just tested it for some reasons which you don't need actually. And suppose uh, if in this case there is a test case that I calculated, that in this case suppose it continuously comes to the else statement. Okay, and the minimum value is the first part. So after coming out of the for loop, it may happen that you don't calculate the mean. The mean is only the first part, that is the first element. So finally, while coming out of the loop, I calculate the minimum count again. If it's minimum, then it will be updated, otherwise it's not. And this is the most important line here. Okay, if you don't run this, you will be getting some errors, and because those test cases that are given in the problem that are fair enough to solve this stuff. And for the max also the same logic, same thing only for the max, and after coming out of the loop you will have to calculate the max again and just print those. And so I got it accepted. And let me know in the comments if you have any simple approach more than this, better than this. And obviously there can be many approaches. I just took what came up to my mind during that. Okay, so the next problem is isolation centers. Okay, so now this is much more simpler. Then I don't know why this is the second most submission. Much more simpler problem, and fairly it will take around 15 minutes to solve it. So nothing, there are 26 types of viruses. This part is the same, and this first letter is ranging from A to Z. Okay, now the string length you will be given. Let's directly skip to the problem. So this is that this is the input length will be n. Okay, and there will be q queries, and you will be given a string, and each character here basically tells the first letter. Okay, so this is S Orona, this T Orona, this A Orona, and all. And for each query, if you read the question, you will come to know that you will be given isolation centers. Okay, with some conditions you have to satisfy. There are some conditions, and if you read these conditions, you will get to know that you have to maintain 2q, and each isolation center cannot have the same people, same type of virus. That is, if A is there in one isolation center, then A cannot be in the other, in that same. Okay, so you have to basically put it in another isolation center. No two viruses of the same type can be in the same queue. Okay, so now the thing is, if you read it, you will get it. And the trick of this problem is, which I did, and most of the people will do it in this way only. That is, okay, so a small code. So basically, first take a frequency array. Okay, initialize all the elements to 0. Basically, we will count the number of characters, the frequency of each character. Okay, so now this is how I do it. First sort the string, then I calculate the frequency. These two lines basically does that. So I have after this the entire frequency of the string. I calculate it, and now see, now inside the queue the while loop will run q times, and I will calculate the sum. So what the sum does is, it will traverse the entire frequency array, and now it will see that whether the frequency array, the number of viruses, as it can satisfy that isolation center or not. So that means, suppose there are 3 A's and you have 2 isolation centers, for example, right? So now you can easily put it in first and second, and the remaining one you can't put, correct? So we will be summing that up, correct? So this is the sum we are doing, and finally just print in the sum. It works. It's fairly a very simple problem, one of the simplest problem in this long challenge. Okay, so let me know if you have any doubt or queries regarding this too. I will be putting the links to my solutions, and just go through it, and I don't think that it will be much difficult for you guys to understand. Thank you.